so that we can read for her as well today. So let me make sure that I have the right platform for her. Hello. Hi, Ro. How are you? I saw your message, but I was actually on a call with my cousins. And can you send me a screenshot? You won't be able to do it through Patreon, obviously, but I want to see a screenshot of what you're dealing with because I also want to submit it to Patreon. So because you shouldn't be having that issue. Because it's really annoying. Like Patreon's been around for a while, like we should be fine with Android. So that way I can triage that for you. It's also Mercury retrograde shadow period, but I figure you would be here anyway. And I just knew my spidey senses that I would be able to read for you now anyway. So that works out time-wise. I wonder, cause I believe if I do this, let's see. I want to make sure I go to the right spot. And then I'll be able to read for you. So I have Erica that signed up already. And then if you guys are new here, welcome. My name's Brenna. I do human design, intuitive reads, using astrology as well. I'm a Pisces Sun, Aquarius rising, Scorpio moon. If you know your human design and you want to drop your human design in the chat, your big three in the chat, you have those options to do so. And if you do want a reading from me, the link is in my bio for $8, 10 minutes, and I send you a recording of the reading. So you get to watch that back again and again. So yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you, Ro. Let's see. Welcome everybody. For now on Streamlabs, I'll record myself when I'm doing the readings. Hi, human, welcome. And then I am going to get up links here so that when I'm yapping, I can see you guys, any of you who book coming through, and then for Ro and Erica, look at your readings too. And then let me get Erica's chart up. So we have that ready to go. At 9:20, so we have 15 minutes before I'll pivot over. So Erica is in, and then let me double check. That's Pooja, that's Ashley. And then Ro, I have your last booking, I believe. So when I look up your email, I should already have your info in my receipt from the first time we met, or maybe the second time, but one of the two. So that'll make it easy, and that way I don't know if you can access the link, so you don't have to pay, because you get a reading complimentary as a part of your Manifesting Generator Patreon membership. And then I can start actually at 9:10 Eastern Standard Time in 3 minutes if that works for you. So let me know. But it's so funny. I've been having so many conversations with people in this Mercury. We're Scorpio season, which is about death, rebirth, and transformation. in every sense of the word. I think people are feeling that a lot, but also this kind of like levity. And what's kind of interesting, and I've shared a lot about, hi Paris. Yes, it is $8. It's not $10. It's $8 for 10 minutes. So when you go to my link, it'll say specifically like TikTok live reading sign up. Usually what happens is people will click the first one, and that's for the audio that I send you. But if you want the TikTok live mini reading sign up, it's the third, I think it's the third block down, but it specifically will say TikTok. So you will see that there. Hi Juno, how are you? But what's kind of crazy, and what I was talking to my cousins about this, and it's funny to see, yeah, absolutely Paris, thank you, is that my dad is one of three, and in true, I was finishing my Saturn return, and yeah, I'm so glad, Juno, I'll talk about that in a second, because that was funny. I was like, I just said that, and I was like, wait, everybody needs to hear this. I can't gatekeep this just for Nura. And Nura is the perfect person for that, like to be the vessel for that message. But my dad got diagnosed with a version of Parkinson's that kind of has a prognosis with like dementia and like ALS. And Saturn is the dad, right on the nose, Saturn return, blah, blah, blah. So my dad and my uncle are Irish twins. They're a year apart, showing similar symptoms. Like it was like all the men in our family were going through different things at a time. And I'm 31, like I'm not, so young for these things, but also we were talking about how like dealing with things like that when you're in your late teens, early 20s in any capacity in early 30s is rare. But I was saying, not in that call, but thinking, and in other conversations about like how so many of the people that I connect with are people who deal with things pretty heavily, like younger, like, and have to find ways to compartmentalize their life, so it's like, it's in my coding for the people I connect with to deal with some heavy things. So, just as we're talking about that, there's really nothing that anyone ever says to me that like is fully shocking. Definitely there's been moments, but like, all of us just dealing with the heavy and the happy simultaneously, we can feel. So, yeah, but Ro, if you're still here, let me know. Thank you, Karasan. I appreciate that. Welcome. I think Ro was gonna try to maybe link in a different way, so I will keep an eye out. But if any of you have any questions about human design, astrology, let me know. It was funny because what Juno was talking about is I was doing a reading today. I had 3 readings today. So a lot of people have been sick, so one person actually rescheduled. But in the last reading that I did with Nura, who's been a client of mine for like 2 years now, I want to say, we also met on TikTok. And they had said to me about just like really feeling impatience, and Nura has an undefined throat, so we were talking about that too. And I was thinking of this in relation to Virgo and Aries placements, and how the reframe of when you feel impatient, you can say to yourself in a loving way, which is very like Mercury and Sag transit, wow, I'm really passionate about finding an answer right now. And kind of laughing at yourself, like you can take yourself out of that, oh my God, like what's happening? Like I need to find an answer. And that is exceptionally something that I feel like so much a part of the work that I do and the red thread that runs through it is helping people get out of that analysis paralysis that anxiety and nervous system dysregulation can take you to. And so for me, like having those reframes, yeah, I'm so glad. I'm gonna screenshot that so I have it. Thank you for saying that. That makes me happy. Like just even knowing that it helped you like in any way, like that means everything to me. So thank you. That's for me. I'm a Pisces. Like I want to be able to share all of this information with anyone who needs it in any capacity. So, to me, that means everything. So I'm glad it helped. And with your placements too, I know them. So that I know even more so that it hits the nail on the head. But I think it could be helpful for any of us just in those moments where it's like, okay, I'm feeling impatience. I'm passionate about finding an answer. What is the answer that I need? And then you go through, especially your energy type in human design. If you're a generator or manifesting generator, distilling it down to A or B, black or white, yes or no questions, things along those lines that can really be a little bit more helpful, in that way to refine, like, where is this coming from? Why am I feeling this way? And that a lot of how I view the work that I do with reading charts for people is being able to know that the answer always is somewhere inside of you, and we're just helping to refine, things on the outside to help you get there. So, yay, Paris, I see you here too. So that's been helpful too. I appreciate that. I have one reading that I'm doing for Erica just before you, Paris, and then I'll be able to pivot over to you. So thank you so much. You know what? While I'm waiting, and then Ro will be somewhere in the mix here. I'm usually on earlier, so this is the time that I'm usually ending for the night. But with the way that my schedule worked out, it didn't. Yeah, thank you. It didn't. The stars didn't align for earlier. But I'm always like, I kind of like the late nights too, because it's a little bit more like intimate sometimes, and being able to connect, like the frequency is different. Oh, I'm a 94 baby too. There we go. So our outer planets are going to be pretty similar. And just to confirm, you're December, not August, right? So you know what way. I know what way. Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh, yes, your natal Scorpio Chiron, 1000%. Absolutely. Okay, thank you, Paris. Yes, you're so right, Juno. That's a perfect observation. I'm glad you reflected that back. Thank you. Hello, YouTube crew. Yeah, hi Erica, how are you? If you're ready and you're settled, I can start you a little early. No one booked ahead of you. I have Paris that is 9:30. It's 9:14 Eastern right now, but let me know if you want me to start you a little bit early. Yeah, okay, perfect. Let me write down your timestamp here. So what time are we at? Okay, so the 12-minute and 22-second mark for beautiful Erica. I hope you're doing well. It was so funny. I was thinking of you, and I was like, I have to reach out to Erica to see how she's doing, like just to see if, like, just for booking even the reading itself, like with Patreon, helps, and a lot of people do it just to get the reminder of the reading once a month. But and then you booked like that day, so I was like, I usually, whenever someone pops into our heads, we always know that Psychic Friends Network, I say. But just to start off with your question, so guidance, insights, anything you feel called to share. Had to take a bridge job and feeling like my dreams are fading, struggling to be seen, more so the confidence to allow myself to be seen, if that makes sense. Absolutely. And I'm actually going to start, because we're just going to go straight in. One of the other people that I read for today has a completely open G center like you do. And so a lot of the conversation we were having today, not a projector. Yeah, I know. And you're not alone. We were just talking, I was just talking to my cousins before this, and we were talking about resource redistribution, and all the things. One of my cousins lives in Chicago and is like in the thick of, all of it right now is the short version of it. But what I wanted to say to you first and foremost is that I want to read to you from the Book of Destinies. I'll send you a link to this. Also, if you don't have it, if you want to get it, I think it's also helpful to kind of just piecemeal, in between readings or things like that, just to solidify the information. If you also are a person who loves to purchase all the books under the sun as possible. But with the undefined G center, it's the one that causes us to feel a lack of identity. Hi, Jose. Or you're constantly shifting and feeling very, I'm going the wrong way. Feeling very, it can easily dysregulate you if you're not aware of the power of it. Yes, so you're the same way as me. So the G center is all about love, identity, and direction. When you have it completely open, like you do, there are no gates there. These are some of the things that are going to come up for you. So I'm reading from the Definitive Book of Human Design. It's also linked at the top of my page too. So a completely open G center leaves one without clear, identifiable personality parameters and an inherent sense of direction. If not grounded in their personal, in your case, emotional authority, completely open Gs feel afloat and unsure of themselves, turning to others to identify and direct them and to affirm their lovability. This leaves them vulnerable to manipulation and open to the conditioning dictates of others. Once they give their authority over to another person, authority figure, or institution, they can no longer live out their true potential. To me, to pin that for now, I don't want you to think that taking a bridge job is going to take that away from you. It's just a matter of, and I think too, like, it just depends on like what phase of life are you in, right? Like also being somebody that has children, that also changes almost like the way that you navigate an open G center through the world. So that will shift, and who you give authority to will shift over time, or you ultimately grow out of that, but part of your learning is that you can be more predisposed in that way. Over time, as they become comfortable with the openness of their design, they do discover their way or direction and a sense of their unique being. Like those with undefined Gs, their broad experience and comprehension of the nature of being, self-love, and the way we are designed to move through life is the wisdom we all benefit from. And I think I said this to you before about how an undefined G center is like letting things flow through you like water, and how you're really meant to have it be a complete like reflection pool. What you also have, which will be some notes to look at too, I may or may not get to them in this 10 minutes, but is your completely undefined ajna and crown are open, right? So these are undefined centers because they have gates there. These are open centers here because there's no gates there. So you have no innate sense of like, this is kind of who I am in this area. My ajna looks the same. We're very open-minded people. Like I always say, like it takes a lot, like it really doesn't, people can tell me anything and I'm like, where do we need to go to like solve this problem, and triage, which is reflected back in a lot of your chart as well. What can come up, and some shadow work prompts to kind of look at, is the not self-talk. So this is what's creating your not self theme is bitterness. So where bitterness can come up with like a misuse or an inability to capture or understand an undefined G center. So the not self mind is the spokesperson for the undefined centers and tells us what we should say or do. Noticing this talk is essential to deconditioning. Deconditioning is the human design term for basically coming home to yourself. Like, who are you without the world's perspective or influence on who they tell you should be? Noticing this talk is essential deconditioning. Here are some of the examples of the not self mental monologue and what they could sound like with an undefined G center. Who am I? Where should I go to find out who I am? Who can show me? Who am I going to love? Who is going to love me? How do I find them? Where can I find them? What am I going to do with my life? Where should I go to figure out what to do with my life? Is it there? Is it here? Where is it? Do I feel lost? Let's go here because we might find something that will show me who I am or what to do with my life. Let's have a relationship with this person because I will get a sense of who I am. And in our relationship dynamic, right, a big part of what I always am like objectively looking at and coming back to is how my job isn't to take your personal authority away. I know more about human design in some capacities because I've been spending, the last 10 years really entrenched in this work in the best way. But like, how do we remove the cobwebs off of that center to come home to you? So with that being said, your identity is always going to shift, and I'll read your comment in a second. I have to swipe so I can actually see what you said. But it's going through life as a method actor or actress and saying, what is the role that I identify with most appropriately as Erica in this time? And in a healthy and fun way, it's like the exalted way of like cosplaying whatever it is that you're doing, which can be kind of a mindfuck of imposter syndrome, but it is actually what you have to do to be able to jumpstart the engine to say, oh, this is actually who I am as Erica in this moment, and that can shift. What happens is that because you're a projector, a lot of that pivoting, shifting rhetoric is usually saved for generators or manifesting generators, when it actually is also, it also is appropriate for you. So yeah, I love, I've been working on noticing that not self-talk. I love that. It can feel lonely because I feel so different. Yes. And do you have, no. Well, it's also interesting. too, is that a lot of what that is meant to do is prevent you from enmeshment, specifically with your 4-6, where you're not meant to look to the left of you or to the right of you and say, this person is exactly like me. Like with Pluto going into Aquarius before Pluto goes into Pisces, the first scary feeling is like, I feel so different all the time with all the people around me. However, hi Tilly. However, what it's meant to do is say, I know that I've got me at the end of the day, and I just need to figure out what is it that I'm building for a sense of empowerment for myself, emotionally, personality-wise, financially, your love life, whatever, family system, whatever that looks like, so that you know that you are standing on a good solid foundation that you have built yourself, right? And what happens with an undefined G center, and what I was saying to my client earlier today, is that it's the overwhelm of that actually being a very liberating and expansive place to be, but because we really don't like to admit that sometimes we do enjoy a limitation because it refines our choices. It just, of course, is going to depend on like what, okay, perfect. I can't look at it while I'm on TikTok live, bro. That's the only thing. I can't go to my messages. Can you copy and paste it and send it to my because I emailed you. Hi, Mohammed. I emailed you. I'm not going to say my email on live for obvious reasons, but it would be in your email to it's your government name, I think at gmail.com. So that way I have it. Yeah, thank you so much. That way I'm like, what's the clearest pathway? Thank you. But yeah, Erica, so with that being said, right, you are in the identity right now, temporarily, it's always going to be a temporary identity of saying that like, this is not a time where, unless you are in a position where like you are in a good place financially, that I will ever tell anybody that like you should just quit your job and be like, the universe has got my back. 99.9% of the people that come to me specifically, knowing my clientele and the red threads that run through all of us, because I have been you are me, you know, our timelines are just different in these parallel universes, is that our nervous system is not regulated enough to be able to leave that and then say like, fuck it, I'll figure it out, right? Which your moon sign is also going to want to do as a gate 20 moon, Erica. But it's, you know, that at this point in time, because you have a responsibility for, you know, people outside of yourself, right? That there are more stakes in the game of life, that you should not feel guilty about taking a bridge job. When I moved to this house, I think I've said this before, I got a job for not even a year as an event coordinator so that I could also do my human design events in person. And I built, my background was in arts and music management, so I was used to building events. So it was like, what did I have to do to like grow my community here? Also not put so much pressure on myself to move from having an in-person client base to online. That was part of it, right? So just knowing that this is a very transitional period for a lot of people. As a projector, environments, aka your environment, which is the world, you're picking up on a lot of insecurity in the atmosphere, especially with the gate 32 north node. A lot of the fears that have been transiting your north node right now are always like fear of being your most successful self, because with any Libra placement, you need to future trip just enough to see what you want to manifest. But once it starts to teeter too much for overwhelming, crippling analysis paralysis and anxiety, that's when we've gone too far into the future. So your only responsibility right now is to figure out, how do we bring those scales, Libra North Node, back to a place that I have just enough responsibility and just enough micro habits that are actually making up the macro to feel sustainable, rather than feeling overwhelmed by all of these choices, all of the people that I will always grow into and morph it to be, which are all going to be beautiful things under the umbrella of Erica, but it's supposed to be fun, which we forget. And the powers that be don't always want us to remember that it's supposed to be fun. We are vastly underestimating how good we are actually meant to feel if we truly go back to basics. And I think that there's also part of for all of us, we go through it not just because of societal things, but like a stripping down, which, you know, you'll hear the buzzwords kind of like a dark night of the soul, or, you know, things along those lines, that really take us back to the bare minimum of like, in your case, when you say struggling to be seen, and the confidence piece is like, well, what puts me in a place where I feel safe to be seen? And then I can worry about the how. I want to say that I've touched on this before with you, or I'm having like very intense deja vu right now, which is also like very Jupiter opposing my Neptune. So that's been happening a lot where I'm like, when we talk about this, but it's like, I know I've said it a lot for especially my clients, like a lot of you have placements where it is very luminous life with Erica, where it's like, is it safe to be seen by people who don't have my best interests in mind? And that's also going to be like nuanced for many different reasons for each individual, but like, what is it that you're doing right now that gives you a place of security to then do the thing, which as adults, there is no other cheat code I could give you. I'd be selling you a fantasy if I didn't say that part of it when you are working a bridge job, your 9-to-5 job, whatever that is that, yeah, absolutely. Because it's, again, like, there's multiple layers to that in every area of our lives right now, right? And again, you're sensitive to, you're like, is this my fear, or am I a projector that is reflecting or projecting the movie reel that is making people become more aware of the fear that exists? So, you know, just some things to focus on. But again, like, remember the key essence of what I was going to say in the last 30 seconds that I have you before I pivot over to Paris here, and then Ro, you after that, is that you have to be willing to do things a little bit tired and really think. In your projector, you can drop into efficiency so quickly. Same for my manifesting generators, of like, what is the core essence of like the most important thing that I have to get done for the bones of what this is growing into? And that's the micro that you have to maintain, even 3 to 4 days a week, 4 to 5 days a week, if you're feeling crazy. But it doesn't have to be, I have to get my whole website done in one night, you know, because just don't mention it so much to other people, which I'm not saying that you do, but it's just a good like reminder, and just focus on every time I have the urge to tell somebody about what I want to do. Yeah, there you go, Tilly, I love that. When I tell somebody what I want to do, then I instead can use that fuel to be about it. And I do, the action is I'm only proving the action to myself. I don't need to speak it out to other people, which is, you know, part of the deconditioning as a projector with a defined throat. So I love that, Tilly. Okay, so you're probably after Paris too. So I'm sorry, Ro, this is like the things that happen when the systems don't work, right? It's like, I'm very gate 5 oriented, so I'm like, I need to have my people booked because then it pushes back. But I have Tilly that is after Paris. So thank you, Erica, and thank you guys for understanding, Ro for understanding in the meantime. Hi, Zaria. So I love this. Yes, and I will email you guys after this, after we're done here tonight. So let me pull up Paris's chart so that we could start from there. You're so welcome. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Tilly. Okay, perfect. Yes. Let me see. I just can't, because I'm a one-woman show, I can't get to everything fast enough for how people can book. So that's the only like issue, that it, you know, in Mercury retrograde, my gate 5 like does not like when it doesn't flow like that. So I see here, let me go through. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I wonder why message failed to send. I don't know why it would do that. Thank you for sending the screenshot. But I want to know what your actual context for the reading is. So that way I have that, but like, let me know if I'm reading for you tonight, what you want me to read for. Like what your question is. So if you could respond there too, if that feels good for you, or we could just like pin it. I also have no problem with like giving you 2 for November, just because this was like an issue. So like technically you're getting your October 1, November 2. But if we're here tonight and you're cool with just hang out for a little bit, we could do that too. So all that to say, before I get too far ahead of myself and delay any more time, let me pivot over to Paris here. And we are at the 29-21 mark. So Paris, your question is, Entrepreneurial. Oh, my entrepreneurship in 3D printing and artifact replication. Ooh, I love that. So my knowledge in general, thank you, Ro. My knowledge in general for that world is very limited on understanding like the context of like the industry. So, okay, perfect, Ro. Thank you. I'm like, I want you to get it in like a good way, you know, like without the snafu. So I'll send that to them. But when I'm looking at your chart, Paris, it's actually funny because the gate 5 that I was talking about, and this is just so you can see what I'm seeing. I'll send you a copy of my chart. So as you're listening to the recording back, you can look at your chart simultaneously. But basically, this is going to look different for those of you who are familiar with a traditional natal chart, birth chart reading. So what I'm looking at, just for context, is everything here on the right-hand side and your personality side is a placement that's connected to your natal chart. So it's how I know when there's a 5 but next to your sun, that's a Sagittarius placement. I know that you're a Pisces moon, actually sharing a little bit of Aries energy, Sagittarius Mercury, Scorpio Venus, so on and so forth. What we're looking at in your chart is how energy flows through your chakras. So where you have areas of definition versus where you have areas of openness is where we're looking at how you are as your personality as Paris, as an individual, and then where you're open to influence from other people. So the first thing that I'll always say, and what is like part of the generator entrepreneurial Sagittarian path, is that we really are looking at, am I doing this business? And like, this is just like general A or B, black, white, yes or no. Am I in this business because I actually enjoy it? Or did I see somebody else doing it and they were successful, so I want to take a stab at that too? Neither of them are wrong answers when you're first starting your human design experiment. That's part of the refinement that we get into over time, because you're excited about it. You want to be in on the excitement with other people. And Sagittarians are like, I've been having this conversation with one of my friends, Noelle, about astrology, who's a beautiful astrologer, and how like Sagittarians are also, hi Amanda, very like the stars of the zodiac, right? So hello. So there's a lot of luminary qualities. You also have an Aries Mars. And so that also indicates, like when I see a gate 29 Aries Mars, you can say yes to things that you actually want to say no to and have a hard time pivoting, or people will perceive you incorrectly or maybe correctly sometimes, I don't know that, that much, but as flaky, because in the time you're like, yes, I want to say yes to that, but yeah, that's been the struggle, but this is, yes, okay, I love that. So now when it comes to dollars and cents of a business that runs on a structure outside of just human design alone, like I am not a reader that's ever going to tell you that you're locked into your fixed fate in this way. Like there are things that I perceive this as 50% of the pie. The other 50% is your free will. The way that I describe it about success or failure is, are you doing the things that logistically make sense for this business to succeed? And it's so funny because actually I just saw one of my childhood friends last night, and I went to him and his husband's house, and I'm friends with both of them, but Braden, his husband, had a 3D printing business, and he just got another marketing job, so he put it on the side. But I haven't talked about like 3D printing, and I don't even know when, and I just was talking about it last night. So one of the things we were talking about that I can now gift you with, because clearly this is why I was supposed to have that conversation. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, how to navigate the journey through human design. Yeah, so I'm getting to that. So with that being said, right, when we're looking at it from a generator perspective, and me explaining the story is like, what are you responding to and what makes sense? Because I can, shove it into your human design in a way that like it could be contrived just because that's what the expectation of this reading is, or it's more so like what you need to hear, because I'm Scorpio. Like I'm like, that's great, but like also we need to touch on like what's the reality, because no one's gonna come back from reading for me and be like, bitch, like you lied about saying that this was gonna be amazing, and like why am I not famous yet? Because that can happen, and I'm very strict about giving this work the credit that it's due. So with that being said, right, when we're looking at it still through the lens of your human design, because I teach people how to make money using their human design, you want to look at, I'm passionate about this. Do I want to start with A or B, black or white generator questions of online or in person? right? Do I want, that's the first place that you're going to look at as a generator, because it's tapping into your sacral. You only have your sacral and your G center defined. So the perimeters are like making you feel like you're always kind of getting like shocked with like electromagnetic static on the outside perimeter. So it's going to make you feel like every, like always having to be frankly on the defensive about like, is this going to work? Am I going to make this right? How do I make money? I need to know right now. Like it's part of that, really what I said about the impatience earlier of like, I'm really passionate about getting an answer right now. I'm really passionate about finding a solution right now. And that's fine, right? But when we operate in our businesses against our generatorness of refining it down to A or B, black and white, to think about it sustainably, that doesn't create a business that has longevity behind it, because we're feeling zapped all the time and struggling with it, right? So when we're looking at it from that capacity, again, just to reiterate in kind of like a tangible, grounded way that you can leave here with. Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's like, it's so hard because you feel, especially after your Saturn return, Saturn is still in Pisces. It's retrograded back there. We're getting towards, it's like we having to go back to go forward again. And so with that Saturn, right, that gate 36 Saturn that you have in friendship and family, you would do really well in the market space. So like I know that there can be an aversion to in-person stuff. However, there is a very big call right now for people going back in person again, to be able to buy things from people in real life, because like it's kind of like the internet is always there, and now it's getting so influx with people who pay for ads, and now you can pay for your live and TikToks to be promoted in front of everybody else. And just because people have paid, it doesn't mean the content is good. So people are going and actually searching in real life for things like that. So not to say that you still can't have an online store at the same time, I know, but it's like you are only there for 3D printing, right? You are not performing on the fly surgery for somebody at a market, you know? So when you feel people, because you have an undefined throat, right? So that's what makes you like, the words have to sound like this in this way, and I don't know how to, it's like 0 to 100. Like if somebody comes at you some type of way at an event, either you're gonna go mute and not say anything, or it can be antagonistic. Like again, it's like how do we grow up? Who are the people that raised us, you know? And your Venus is also going to give you a fear of running out of time with gate 28. So what the higher octave of that, and I just did a longer video on it, so I'll actually send you, I'll send it to you, because I won't waste the time like now, and you can watch the video about it. It's like watch the first 5 minutes, and it's turning into understanding that there are rules in the game of life that we have to play to succeed in order to be successful for that placement specifically. So when you're looking at, you know, your question, entrepreneurship in 3D printing and artifact replication, if you're doing artifact replication with 3D printing, I'm like, where do the you know, either online, if you're looking at, like when I think of artifact replication, I'm thinking of, you know, the little bit that I know and my limited knowledge that I could pick up on in the last minute that I have you, is like, where are the people on Etsy that are looking for replicas of, you know, works that they can't get in a museum, and they don't want to pull another Louvre heist or something along those lines. So where do those people exist? If your nervous system is that shot where you don't have the ability to have the proper boundaries to do it successfully in person, that's fine. That's data. We know that. But then where can I think critically about online as a generator? Where can I start to bounce around and explore about where these people exist in the internet space? And every aspect of entrepreneurship, I'm an entrepreneur, I've owned my business for 4 years officially, right, is always going to have challenges. So if you go into entrepreneurship thinking that you're going to outsmart challenges or problems with people, even, it's not gonna happen. But you can diminish it because you're not service based, you're also artifact based, so to speak, right? So there's objects. It makes it really easy. Your face doesn't have to be on your website. That just tells me you have to have good SEO and things along those lines. So yeah, and I think like practice more in person. Again, do what feels sustainable for you at this time in your life. It's okay. It's also, there are people who are going to be more in their hermiting versus people who are going to be more extroverted right now, but that's just more data. You know, my job in this reading, which I've given you, is to just start to look at it for A or B, black or white, yes or no, bring you back to that core essence of being a sacral manifesting generator, where the somatics of your body are telling you how integrated do I feel to be able to, you know, feel like I can do this sustainably. So you know that. So it's like, okay, holiday season, let me look up where I can start to list my products online. what are the proper titles I can give them. You can look up SEO videos on YouTube. It doesn't have to be that complicated or overwhelming. And then say like, this is where I'll list those products. You know, even if you look at like, you're making replicas of Minecraft swords, for example, and you sell them on Whatnot. You can, that's an app, look into the app Whatnot. I'll send you a link about it too. Just so you could look at that. But again, it's like, it comes back to, if there's nothing else you take away, it's starting to refine the 1 million questions you have swirling through your brain at one time, A or B, black or white, yes or no questions. And then that's going to be the way that you can start to distill down what makes sense moving forward for you. So it's not a matter of if you will be successful or if it's destined to be, but are you willing to do the refining process that's required of a generator to get to where you need to go? Because we live in a world that is communal. We are getting back, even though it's very challenging, to understanding how to treat our fellow humans and what that looks like. And this is the, you know, like running through everyone's system of just doing it in the like most messy way possible, but you're in the messy middle of figuring that out. And so figuring out, you know, online versus in person will come in its time, but that's just more data of you figuring that out right now. So A or B, black or white, yes or no questions as a generator. And I'll send you the Gate 28 and the Whatnot info, because that'll be helpful tools for you to look at, to just help refine the overwhelm for you without having to just Google and like sit in analysis paralysis and being like, where do I go? So I will leave you with that for now. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I love to help my people. So, you know, and giving you practical advice too. So Amanda, yay. Okay, perfect. And let me pull up beautiful Tilly's chart now too. Because there's a lot of people that make, you know, they can make good money just, you know, selling a fantasy and tarot cards and things like that. But I'm not that girl. So I'm like, what is something that I can leave you with? And I can go to sleep and lay my head at the pillow at night knowing that I'm like, this person actually got something that is like actually a tool that they can use, because that's what is actually going to help us all evolve, is if we have things that actually we can actually apply. Thank you. Okay, Tilly, so yeah, navigating the next steps while knowing that the end goal is very different than the immediate next step, but the end goal isn't clear in detail. Okay, what do you know when you could do when you, I feel like that's like such a Tilly, like I could say that to you and you get like the context of it. Like I always say to Tilly that I always start laughing. I know, I'm like, let's break this down. Yeah, navigating next steps. So being in the messy middle when the end goal is very different than the next step, but the end goal isn't clear. So I feel like your question is basically the overarching umbrella for what Erica asked about when you're in the messy middle of life and you know that you're doing the temporary thing that you have to do to acquire the skills to get to the end goal that may shift, like what do we do with that? And I feel like and with your placements too, with the undefined solar plexus and your open heart center, it's like, am I doing the right, you know, you're doing the right thing in some capacity, but there's always kind of like that suspended in air feeling, of like, but is it actually right? Like, am I actually doing, hi Dave, thank you. Am I actually doing it right? Like what's actually happening right now? So what do we do when we're in times of transition, transmutation, like all kind of having to be at the discretion of being a generator that frankly you're at the point of needing more data to respond to? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just know that what I'm doing isn't sustainable, something I'll do. Yeah, like something long-term. Thank you, Charlie. And that's normal. Listen, there are many things, like I always say, I took a job in insurance knowing damn well I was like in the fast track management program. Like they were like, loved that I was like a woman, a young, you know, college educated woman in a male dominated field, and I could stick up for myself, and like, you know, in the car industry, like but I had no qualms about like knowing that that was a temporary means to an end for where I was supposed to go, because I knew that if I left that job or like tomorrow, and I, you know, like the worst fear being like, you know, transitioning into the next lifetime in the workplace, like they would replace me tomorrow. You know, someone is already going to be interviewed for my position. So, you know, remembering that and remembering your role within the bigger constructs of whatever you're doing. Exactly. Hi, Angel. Yes, absolutely. I have a link in my bio to that. So I'm just doing 3 more readings, and then I can open spots if it's not there. But it's $8, 10 minutes. Link is in my bio. But you could ask any question in between, and I'll get to as many people as possible. But right, Tilly. So for your placements as well, I'm just running 2 minutes over, Amanda, because you're next, and then I think my bookings are closed, so I'll do Amanda, and then I'll do Ro, and then will open again. Mercury retrograde, my brain. But keeping it in order. But Tilly, like in that process where there's a lot of growing pains and like knowing at least part of the vision, like you're in a very specific potent time with a nodal opposition, and or like the end of it, because you're right, you're like literally smack dab in the middle of like Pisces, Virgo, or Aries, Libra. So I actually don't know from your human design body graph specifically where you fall. But your gate 46, which is like your body really is going to start keeping score starting now. So with that being said, right, whatever your body is telling you about what feels exciting versus what you're getting averse to, like really pay attention to that. I have to do my disclaimer. It's not medical advice, Yeah. Okay. And that's, yeah. So in human design, gate 46 and gate 25 are actually cusp placements. So you're just you're probably like 29 degrees of Aries and Libra North Node. So, which also tells me the later the degree of a planetary placement or a coordinate in your chart, that's like one of the most important aspects for you to learn. So gate 46 is also a 0 degree Virgo or 28 to 29 degree Libra placement, or vice versa. And yeah, I did the mix up back and forth, but all that to say, the core essence of it, the semantics don't really matter right now, is to pay attention to what literally lights you up. Like that's a phrase that's always blanketed for generators and manifesting generators, but it's like when you are in the moment of being where your feet are, which is so important. I'll also send you the Generator 101 video that I made because it'll help you to just like get some of the like basics repeated, is that you need to be where your feet are to get the proper lore of every year of life to apply it when the end goal does become more clear. I had no idea when I was, like 25 roughly, working in insurance, that I was ever going to be sitting here on TikTok live talking to people 2 nights a week, doing events. I have 2 talks and another in-person event for like a wellness in the woods, and then like a woman's like holistic fair that's run by a chiropractor. Like I had no concept of what that would be. I knew I wanted to own my own business, but I didn't know even at 28 what it was going to morph into. So just knowing that when you listen to your body and what your gut is telling you, that will never be something that steers you wrong. You literally know you best at the end of the day. So, and I'll read your comments in a second. I just want to finish my thought so I don't interrupt myself ADHD 85 times. But you know you best at the end of the day. And your body is not going to put you in a position, nor your spirit, that isn't natural or that you aren't capable of. It's just a matter of like the skill issue. Like, did I collect enough am I allowing myself to do what I have to do to be a beginner at this stage? And the best people, I promise you, the thing that I live by is that I can always learn more, right? I can always learn more. And there's always things that I don't know that are up leveling and knowing more. And that thirst for knowledge is never going to be something that steers you. So, yeah, it's been the theme I've been trying to stick with. Absolutely. And I feel like it should be easier because I've been studying living human design for 2 to 3 years now. Yes. Hi, Relax. In the last minute I have you too, I was studying human design for like 4 or 5 years, and I still wasn't applying it in the way that I could have to make it more efficient. It's literally the experiment for a reason. That doesn't mean that you're still where you were before you even knew, or that you're stuck in some way, but rather that there's just it's just about practice, and it makes you're packing the snowball and you're about to roll it downhill into this next phase. And that's, I may not do human design at one point in the future. I don't know, like it literally is. And to know that like everybody's experimenting, and every single time in our lives, no matter how sure even I feel of you now, or I feel of myself now, how secure I feel, there are going to be moments in the future where I try something new, I push the boundaries of what I want to grow into, and I allow myself to be a beginner again, because what the fuck else am I here to do? You know, but I'm a 1-3 as well, and that's where it comes from, because the 1 doesn't like to know that it's also a 3. We always want to be like, it's so effortless, I've studied this for 89 years, and you know, like, that is the paradox of the 1-3. Like, I literally know. And there's always things, the best thing that I will actually leave you with is that the best answer is, I don't know, but I will find it out for you. I don't know, but I know where to look. And that doesn't mean that you are a failure, right? I don't know. Let me read the book again. Am I a failure because I read this paragraph for somebody who needed it and I like the words here versus committing it to memory? No, right? Like, rely on your resources, and people like the authenticity better than they do like the arrogance. And that's also like generationally speaking, like, we're just far enough apart, even though we're technically the same generation, for you to feel more of that pressure than like I did as a 94 baby. Those 3 years make a big difference. So I know you'll be fine. I feel like that's helpful information for everybody that was here, probably Amanda included too, my beautiful fellow Pisces. And you know, it's like allowing yourself, it's safe to be seen even as a beginner. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. If you are operating from a place of what your gut is telling you, even in beginnership of whatever it is you're doing, you're confident in your decision, knowing that like, also, why the fuck not me? And like, who the fuck cares? Like, really, even if people say something, try to correct you, like in the messy middle of what you're trying out, like, does that actually have an effect on my life? I may be a little hurt, it may be hurtful, but like, it's like just reminding yourself, like, nobody that's criticizing you for where you are, where you're going, what you're trying, they're never doing more. They have time to watch what you're doing and make you feel bad about it, which is like embarrassing for them. So I love you. You'll be fine. But for beautiful Amanda, let me write down our timestamp here, and then I will do Ro. If you're still here and with us, let me know. Or if you want me to do your reading another day, just let me know too, just to confirm. Okay, perfect. Yes, I understand. I love that. I know you're the perfect of like, it's like the best worst case scenario in a way, where like you're an absorber. So like all these little things, I'm like taking the notes for your binder for when you want to do readings is like perfect, you know, perfect sauce recipe. So we're at 5150 for Amanda here. And then Amanda's question, yeah, whatever you're called based on my chart, I can use any guidance. Well, thank you for saying that. I mean, I always love reading for you. One of the things too, because I know I always go back to this, and I'm going to read to you about your G center too, because you have it undefined, although not completely open, is your gate of crisis. Especially in your line of work with real estate, right? Like, I'm sure like that's always an industry that's hit at any point in time, but you're also really good at navigating what people need to fluctuate. Pisces is mutable. You're going through the waves as a fish that is of the water. You could exist in a hurricane, you can exist in a pond. Like, where are you kind of jumping, flopping yourself out of the tank to grow and to swim to? That is going to feel much more expansive. Especially as a manifester, there are going to be people that love the way you do it. There are going to be people that are like, why is she doing that TikTok trend or whatever? You know, like, I love your content. I love your work. Like, I love the way that you bring such vitality to your industry. You know, and again, it's reminding yourself of not my circus, not my monkeys. You should only be concerned about the opinions of the people that you actually want to grow in community with, whether that is a client-based perspective or like your actual family, you know, your actual community or chosen family. Also, I'm touching on a little bit of your gate 40, gate of aloneness. So the collective today, but also the collective energy that I've been picking up on a lot, even, you know, from an intuitive perspective, is that there's a lot of suspension and isolation happening right now, which is hard because it's also the holiday season, although that brings up a lot of energy for people about like a lot of emotions for people. It's very sensitive. I think that you are the perfect person to be also a resource redistributor, having a giving tree in your office space where like there's an ornament for different people who need different things. If they need a jacket, if they need a train, if it's a kid, hi Tavi, having those, you know, on the tree. Hi Diana. Food, resources, you know, whatever you feel called to, because you are literally the gate of crisis is your personality sign. So yeah, so it's like, and that's a way that you can still contribute. But I think, hello, for you, it could be so overwhelming that it does also create analysis paralysis, because you, like me, as we mentioned before, are also a Scorpio moon. So it's like that, like, how do people can project onto you and you can feel the projection more intensely than the average person of like, all or nothing, or like she's not doing enough even though she could. Even if you've never been somebody that's ever been expected to handle certain problems, you're like, there's somehow this frequency of like holding you accountable and responsible, because you also hold the frequency of being a very capable person. So it's like a double-edged sword where you're like, I love being capable, but also like, I'm also a person in the world that needs to be able to experience. Hi Katie. I'm gonna send this back to you so you can watch again and again. But you know, you also need to be a human that's experiencing like living in this world in this time, and like be able to do that, you know, like we eloped, I got married last month, and there's a lot of people that would be like, I have literally people in my life, in my family, that have the mindset of that, like they are struggling, so instead of paying for an elopement after I got engaged, that I should fund them and and raising them up financially, because I'm not allowed to get married when I want to, because they're not in a good spot. So because of your placements too, fellow Pisces Sun, Scorpio Moon, I know that you know that in different ways and can feel that frequency in many different areas. Like there's, you know, manifestor especially, you can do no right, you can do no wrong, writing across of Eden, like your thoughts are always swirling, and your groundedness is within friction. Your gate 6 Virgo groundedness opposite your sun when you were born. It's that like you're comfortable in a certain level of chaos, but what you're meant to transmute that into is like being good at being diplomatic in conversations that require like tact and decorum, and also teaching people how like I'm gonna tell you it straight, but I don't have to yell while doing it either, you know, or I don't have to scream it or show my intense depth of feeling. You can still say it in a way that actually gets, like, I think I always mix up the phrase, which is so like, my Mercury is naturally very retrograde. So like get more bees with honey or get more flies with honey. It's one of the two. But basically there's a core part of your, especially your Aquarius North Node and your Leo South Node, is like pulling in that regality, that Leo royal quality of like the good way to lead, you know, being somebody that is with the people, but also being able to say like there's also a cadence, and like there also are times when like rules and boundaries and parameters are actually very helpful, because they all help us to understand like what our true capacities are as a whole. You know, so I just see it like with your placements too, like there's been a transit with our Sun Gate transit up until tomorrow with gate 28 that is causing the channel of struggle for you, because you have gate 38, which is the gate of the fighter, as your Neptune placement naturally, but gate 28 is meeting it. So you're either aware of struggle, feeling more so fear of running out of time, what is worth it, you know, no stone left unturned, needing to do all the things I have to do before I leave this earth plane and transition to another spirit body on the other side. There's a lot of that. Also noticing where other people are struggling. I also, for your placements, highly recommend, if you are somebody who is in like a connection with your hormones, what are your hormones doing, cycle syncing, paying attention to like how that feels for you. And ultimately, like you are somebody, because of your gate 15 in your Jupiter placement, gate of extremes, that can jump right in with both feet and say like, this is who I am right now, and this is how I can provide in a way that is aligned with my nervous system regulation and what my capacities are to help in times of crises. So, you know, you don't have to always be on the front lines in your personal life for people that, you know, live in your household on the front lines of their crises. Always, you know, use your discernment for what your true capabilities are. to pay attention to that. Also is going to help so much because of your gate 22. That's where I was leaning into so much about grace and tact, because your gate 22 is literally the gate of grace and charm, and it's your Mercury. So it's like being able to speak with a way that's like tactful, graceful. It does also help because of where you were born. There's like a little bit of that diplomatic, like bless your heart energy. But people have to be reminded of that again. One other thing I want to read to you, because of your undefined G center, for some of the things like where you may be sleeping on yourself or the not self themes that can also create a little bit of doubt, are what I had read for with Erica as well, which is about the undefined or open G center. So some of the not self themes, right? The not self mind is the spokesperson for the undefined centers. It's what makes you feel angry, which is your not self theme, where you want to go to peace, and tells us what we should say or do. Noticing this talk is essential to deconditioning or coming home to yourself, who you're meant to be before the world told you who you were supposed to be. Here are some of the examples of what the not self mental monologue could sound like with an undefined G center. Who am I? Where should I go to find out who I am? Who can show me? Who am I going to love? Who is going to love me? How do I find them? Where can I find them? What am I going to do with my life? Where should I go to figure out what to do with my life? Is it there? Is it here? Where is it? Hi, Amanda. Why do I feel lost? Do I feel lost? Let's go here because we might find something that will show me who I am or what to do with my life. Let's have a relationship with this person because I can get a sense of who I am. So I always say, like, I said this to Eric, I was like, when I read that or anyone that has that, I'm like, oh, we're just going to go right for the jugular. I just have to do that little, like, puzzle. Okay, good. Third time's a charm. Hi, Leah. Welcome. So that usually only comes up when you forget, like, who the fuck you are as Amanda. That is not as common for you with your placements, like when I'm looking at you holistically, but in times where, like, it's very heavy, dense, foggy energy in the atmosphere. Now with Mercury and Sagittarius, it's also helping your mutable, creating like a loose square to your sun of like, oh, this is how I'm meant to be a little bit lighter, and it's okay that I'm laughing right now. Like, I am also allowed to laugh, and like remind people that, like, what I've been saying too for a Piscean energy is you're meant to maintain the frequency of hope, so that when people come out of more dire situations where they literally cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel and only perceive it as the head of an oncoming train, like, you are the person that's meant to remind them when they're ready to receive it that, like, you're holding the frequency of hope always, and the silver lining is there through you always. I have chills on both the left and right side of my body, so there's probably something extra to that was a channeled message from your guides through me to you. When your digestion's closed, you're kind of like, yeah, like, I have to remember to, like, fix the crown, lean forward. Life is a roller coaster. People give you less grace because you always get through it to the other side. Somehow, in stories that you could tell people, they probably couldn't even imagine what you've been through, how you're survived, because they've dealt with much less and complain a lot more. And to not let anyone let you forget that you deserve to stand in your power in that way is so incredibly important. So I feel for you. I'm sure that's a frequency that a lot of you guys can connect with right now too. Cause it is dense, but there's also still a lot of beauty in the world, in the words of Macy Gray. If those of you who remember, or those of you who she never left the playlist, is a good song to remember. So yeah, of course, I love you too. Thank you so much. I always love reading for you. And yeah, I think that leaves us for some free time, after here. If anyone has any questions, or if there's anything else that I said that you want me to elaborate on. Angel, I don't know if you're still here. But yeah, let me know if there's any questions too that I could help you with. I'm sorry that I don't know, where I found you in the lens of things. Hi, Hair. Welcome. Thank you for sharing. I love the peacock. Are you Sagittarius? I see the archer emoji. I get a lot of beautiful Sagittarians. It's so funny because I was mentioning this last night to my friends. I went over to my friend Tim. I've known since I was in middle school, and I wasn't into astrology in the way that I am now. And so I was looking at him and his husband Braden's placements, and all of my friends that I have had since childhood, all of them had either Leo or Cancer in their big three, which is also luminary qualities of like being celebrities in some way or having some sort of talent or getting recognition. And like, that's always kind of a frequency that's with a lot of the people that I read for too. But it's funny, like if you're able to look back, your big three are your sun, moon, and rising in astrology and human design. This isn't like a human design term, but my finesse of it, the big three, hi Steph, the big three in human design, I say are your profile, authority, and energy type. Hello, how are you? I wish you saw like the last reading I did, because I feel like you would understand. Like, I'm sure you've had readings that you've done similar. I read for Amanda, who's a manifestor, beautiful Pisces like us. Steph and I are 2 days apart in Pisces season. She's a March 4th, I'm a March 2nd. But I was talking about us holding the frequency of hope as Pisces, so that when people are ready to receive and know like the ability to still experience joy in the world does still exist, and that it really isn't like, it's just messy. We're in the messy middle right now, that we're meant to hold that sacredness of protecting that innocence that is like, it's changing, things are changing, but like we're able to hold that hope. So that was part of what I was mentioning before you hopped on. But yeah, I've just seen that. And I was also, before this, my cousins and I are all scattered. I have a big Irish family. Both my dad's brother and sister each have 5 kids, and they have started to all have children and do things. And we were talking about how like we're the generation now that's like responsible for like our parents aren't going to plan play dates for us, and there's not one central location where everybody goes for Thanksgiving or Christmas anymore, and going into the holiday season, and just having that community. And I was thinking about that a lot with the people, like, and thinking about that for my client base too, like how many of you have family that you can reconnect with if it's possible, not in like I'm gonna text the person that I want no contact with again, but if you have the ability to kind of create a portal, even if it's just with one cousin or a chosen family member, doesn't have to be somebody that's blood related, to connect with at this time, it's also a little bit of a lighter moment to do that. Even if there was like light conflict or petty conflict that was kind of like silly, and like you don't really remember why you stopped talking, you just grew apart, and then you forgot what the riff was, and then you connect again, as childhood friends or whatever. There is a little bit more of a window in time, for the next like beginning of November somewhat, to kind of open that door, if it, using your gut instinct first, especially as any good sacral authority should, or splenic authority, I'll say as well, to kind of feel into your emotions, into your body, as like, oh, who maybe can surprise me, or where do I feel like there's also an opportunity to reconnect with somebody that I didn't expect I was going to reconnect with, and I just kind of wrote it off as like, I have to compartmentalize that because that's what I thought it was going to be, but where is there an opportunity to maybe connect? Because a lot of and I had this conversation with another client today in a reading, a lot of us are craving like in-person connection again. And for the last like majority of the last year or so, I haven't done like any in-person events, and I got asked to do 4. So it was like all of a sudden I was like, oh, the people are IRL, and we need to be able to shake somebody's hand or give them a hug. Also online, obviously still being potent and important, but like where can we cultivate a little bit of that balance too? Remember that once we do go outside, like there are still safe pockets, generally speaking. Obviously we have to use our discernment for where in the world that we live, but for those of us that are able to sit in some room and be able to tap into TikTok and listen to me yap, like we're not doing completely terrible in some way, shape, or form. So, also being able to lean into that. And also too, what a conversation that was coming up with my cousins earlier is that not being afraid to ask for resources, and like if you need help in any capacity, especially now, like not being afraid to ask for the help that you need it. For example, you don't need to be unhoused to be able to go to a food pantry. There are certain things like using your discernment for where you need to be, like catching a little bit of a break and allowing yourself to like know that it is a bridge moment in your life. We've had to talk a lot about that for members of our family, I'll say, without airing all my family's. If it's my immediate family or some things that I'll share, but other parts of my family, it's not my place to share all of their stuff. But, just to be able to know that that's a real thing, that people are going through, and, the world keeps on spinning and we have to move forward. So yeah, Tilly, I feel that. But yeah, I'll pause for a second to see if there's any last minute questions, but if not, I will sign off for the night. I'm gonna send you guys, Erica, Paris, Tilly, Amanda, thank you. I'll send you guys all emails of the recording after this will process like immediately. But I'm also gonna first triage Rose issue with Patreon, because that like is like my eye like twitches until it's done. Like, why isn't it working? But you also have my email, like just in case they're getting it together, but I have a feeling it's probably some like wonky you know, Mercury retrograde pre-shadow period, all of a sudden it's gonna work again, or some random like, we randomly didn't have service and there was this random outage and it just so happened to be like at random times that something was being updated or whatever, but you know, the limitations. But yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Tilly. I appreciate you. It was so good to see you guys. I feel like I had a lot of my OGs here tonight too, which was nice, from the last year or years prior. Tilly's been with me, you've been with me from the beginning. So it's been nice to just see like how we're all evolving and allowing ourselves, like it really never feels linear, but you just become, as somebody who's like ending her Saturn return officially technically did, like it gets easier to be more confident in your decisions over time, especially when you listen to making them from your authority in human design and being able to know. And I'm always a pro of like, ask your ancestors. They brought you into this world. They're on the other side now. They have the capacity to help you. Ask them for assistance. So I will leave you guys with that. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Wisdom. Hello and goodbye. Thank